All right. So thank you guys for coming to my personal branding webinar. And I hope it is informative to you all. Okay. So a lot of people have been asking me whether personal branding is right for them. So whether you are an executive in your position or even if you just started out in your career, personal branding is beneficial to everybody. Okay. So even if you're about to switch into a different industry, everyone who is on the job or working towards a goal, personal branding is for you, regardless of where you are in your career. Okay, so the couple of things I will be discussing today are what is personal branding, why do you need it, how do you create your own personal branding, and I will go through the 5 pillars of personal branding, as well as a personal branding blueprint that I created to go along with this webinar. Okay. So personal branding is a brief statement that highlights your skills and your experiences and the specific thing that makes you stand out, makes you different from everybody else in your industry. So the thing that makes you pop. And also it's a way of establishing and reinforcing who you are and what you stand for. So the thing with personal branding, it's not just a one-time thing that you need to build, but it's a continuous statement that you're building. So everything that you do has to be geared towards building your personal brand. Okay, so there are 3 points that I want to share with you about building your personal brand. And we want to focus on who you are and what you're known for, so what you do and what makes you stand out. Okay, so when we think about who we are, our identities, we usually talk about our occupations or our jobs, what role we play in the family, or our personality. So I'm going to go into this a little further. So one thing I wanted to mention as well is it's very important, and I see this with a lot of my clients, it's very important that we understand that we are multifaceted people, which means that we can't just let one part of our life define who we are entirely. So our identity does not just rely on what we do as a job, as an occupation, or what role we play in our family. I have a lot of clients who have been working in a position maybe for 15 or many years, and they recently get laid off, and they're in my office and they've broken down into like sobs and tears because they've lost their job. And because of that, it's like equated to losing their whole identity. So there's a big, big danger in that when you just allow one part of your life define your entire being. So I have to stress this again. Please do not allow just one part, especially your occupation, to define who you are as a person. You are more than that. And there's a danger to doing this is whether if you lose your job or if you're in a position that you hate, it's like your whole life is ruined and you can't seem to see any great thing that's happening around you, and it's harder to get out of that hole of an occupation that you hate so much when you identify as like, this is all I have, this is all I am, and if I am this, then I am nothing, right? So we go through a lot of self-talking, and I'll explain a little bit more throughout this presentation, so it's very important. But I've also included a personality test if you're unsure about your personality traits. Some people know right away whether they are outgoing, whether they are more conservative, and so on. And some people are still figuring that side of themselves out. So this is a really good personality test to take if you're unsure. It's called the Big Five Personality Test, and it settles on 5 personality states. So that is, for example, openness. So if your ability to try new things or be adventurous, or neuroticism, which is you're more careful or more cautious, just for a couple of examples. But you can visit the website for more information. Okay. So another thing that you can that help you build your personal brand is, what are you known for? So what are some of your accomplishments? What are your skills? What are you really good at? What's your status? So what you're known for, you could be a CEO of a company, or you could be the person that brings in the most sales every month. Those are the things I'm talking about. Okay. And the wow factor. Now, this is the thing that makes you stand out from everybody else from in your industry. So, for example, if you are if you are in sales. So one thing that may make you stand out is maybe you don't sell the most things in your company every month, but you build strong relationships. So your clients are the most loyal, and everyone wants to work with you because they have that connection to you. So that's just an example of a wow factor. Okay. So I wanted to give you a personal example of someone that hopefully we all know. So for example, this is Michelle Obama. So who is she? What she's known for, her job, she is a lawyer. She is an author, and obviously she is the president's wife, or the former president's wife. She's also known as the first African American first lady. So that's one thing that who she is. She's a wife, she's a mother of 2, but also her personality, I don't know her personally, but from what I've heard, what I've read from her book, she is a determined woman, and she's very compassionate. Okay, and what she's known for, as I mentioned before, first African American first lady. She's also leader of Let's Move, which was her initiative in the White House when she was working in the White House. Just to reduce, it's a public health campaign which was meant to reduce childhood obesity. Okay, and her wow factor. So other than being the wife of a former president, what she's known for is being authentic. She was relatable at the time. A lot of people were seeing how they feel like, they can call her up anytime, or just have a regular discussion with her. There's not that divide, like, oh, she's up here and we're just down here. So she was relatable, and she also had modest beginnings. So she was not born into a extremely wealthy family. Okay, so moving on to, why do you need personal branding? Okay, so personal branding is the reputation you want to build for yourself. So it shows employers the things that you have to offer. So whether that be your skills or your values, or whatever qualities you have to add to the workplace or to your company. So again, whether you are starting off in your career, or you're not even sure if you're in the right career, it's still very important to build a personal brand. As I always say, even if you do not like your job, eventually when you're able to move on and find a job that you do like, you're most likely going to need a reference from your former boss. So building up that reputation is still going to be very beneficial for you. Okay, it also builds self-awareness. So one thing with personal branding is it forces you to sit down, think about where you are in your career right now and where you want to be. So that means you're going to be setting some goals, and you're going to be setting some sub goals of how to which sub goals are little steps you're going to take to achieve the bigger goal. So it also allows you to show what matters to you. It forces you to think about that. So you're doing a lot of introspection, and it increases your visibility to employers. Okay. So now we're going to go into the how to build your personal branding. And these are going to be the 5 basic pillars I've been talking about. So value, strength, self-development, network, and mindset. Okay. So the first thing, values, is what is important to you. So now this may seem like the easiest thing. Like I ask people, what's important to you? But at times we don't really realize what's important to us because we don't really think about it. We know what we like or what we don't like, but it can be a little bit hard to sit down and maybe come up with a list of 10 values that we care about. So just for example, a few values that may come to mind as you value teamwork or competition, or you may value spending more time with your family or freedom, or a lot of times people value money. So you go to a job, whether you like it or not, the thing that stands out to you the most is how much are you getting paid? You don't care what you're doing, you just need to get paid, right? So, and that's okay. Whatever your values are, that's what's going to drive you towards achieving certain goals and setting certain goals as well. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is strength. So you have to think about certain things that you're good at. So everyone has something, even if it's just one thing that they're good at. A lot of the times, though, I speak with my clients and they have their strengths, but then they say, oh, but it doesn't really mean anything. Oh, it just it's really small, really minor. No, use your strengths to build up your personal brand and use whatever strengths you have to build up yourself in your career. So your strengths will not be the same strength that I have. And in a company, we need everybody's strength. So for example, in the body, we don't think much about the big toe or even the little toe. It's very minor, we think. But when that big toe goes missing or when that little baby toe hits against the wall or something, then we see the importance of having those minor digits in our whole body. And it's the same thing. So whatever strength you may have, the public speaking, or you're able to build relationships, not just build relationships, but maintaining relationships. That's a very valuable thing. So think about some strengths that you're good at, and also work towards using that every day in your professional life. So in my book, I spent some time, I give you some activities and some action plans of how you can use your strengths to build up your personal brand in the real world. Okay, now self-development refers to our weaknesses. So yes, we have strength, and it's always very good to build our strength and to work with our strength, but we also have to acknowledge what our weaknesses are. And we acknowledge our weaknesses because these are the things we want to improve. These are the things we need to work on. Of course, we don't have to be perfect in everything, but once you acknowledge where what your weaknesses are, you're able to um, work on them and to develop yourself further. And personal branding is also about self-development. Okay, so it's the ongoing process of understanding and developing yourself in order to achieve your fullest potential. So a way of improving your weakness is either building or acquiring new skills by maybe taking some online courses. If you have issues working with others, maybe you can maybe join some volunteer initiative that can help force you into positions where you have to work with others and so on. But identifying your weaknesses is also very important in developing your personal brand. Okay, And network. So this is probably the most obvious step in developing a brand, your personal brand, is networking. So the same goes, it's not only about who you know, but who knows you. Okay, so the purpose of networking is to meet new people and to become known. So you don't want to just show up to an event, but you also want to get involved. So you want to be that person known for doing things. Once you get involved and you start to put yourself out there a little bit, you don't have to be too much at first because I know it can be nerve-wracking. But even maybe checking codes at a networking event, even something as small as that, and getting to know different people, then eventually later on it can help you to advance your career. Like, you know, Jerry from accounting, so on. I'm sorry, hold on. Okay, so there are three types of networking that I discuss in the blueprint. One of them is operational, personal, strategic, and these three types of networking networks, they just discuss different types of groups that you can network in. So operational, for example, is networking with colleagues who are in the same level as you, but maybe in a different department. And strategic, for example, is networking with a mentor. So someone who is above you at a place where you aspire to be at one day. So someone to teach you and show you the ropes of certain things. So I go into more detail in my personal branding, my blueprints. Okay, so mindset. This is another big thing. So I like this quote: is believe in your infinite potential. Your only limitations are those that you set upon yourself. And a lot of the times we have this mindset where we put ourselves down. We are our toughest critic. And in order to do these steps, so find out what your values are or put yourself out there to network, we have to change our mindset. So we always have this self-fulfilling prophecy where we think something's going to happen, or we believe we're not good enough for certain things, and we behave in that way. And when we behave in a certain way, then we get the results we expect. But what we don't realize is we are behaving in that way because of our mindset. And that is why we're receiving the results we're getting. For example, oh, I'm trying to change a career, but I'll never get the job because I don't have any experience, or I'm not really good at this. But I'm going to apply anyways just to say that I applied. So I'm applying with the mindset I'm not going to get the job anyway. So I'm probably not putting a lot of effort in writing my resume, and I'm not really trying to meet people in my in that network to get another job because I don't think I'm going to get the job anyways. So that's just an example of how our mindset can set us back from achieving great things. Okay, so for a way to change your mindset is to set professional and personal goals every day. Try new things or help someone else, and or give back to the community. Okay, so for my closing remarks, I wanted to just emphasize that building your personal brand is intentional and it's a continuous process. So it's a continuous process of self-development and promoting yourself. When I say self-promotion, I mean just putting yourself out there, marketing your skills and your abilities. And it's something that won't happen overnight. It's something that may not happen very quickly with you, especially if you have a lot of reservations about your abilities, if you're really have a lot of strongholds in your mindset that will hold you back. It's also not a straight, clear-cut path. There's a lot of curves down this journey, a lot of roadblocks and so on. It's just the mindset that you have to keep pushing, keep going forward, to build your personal brand and to reach a goal where you want to be. Okay, so it's very important to press on. Okay, so just to bring this back home, I wanted to share how applying the 5 pillars can be possible in your daily life. So networking and self-development will increase your visibility to employers, which in turn can or will help to advance your career. Using your strengths strategically and making connections, which is again networking, will open you up to new opportunities. So maybe opportunities that you weren't even interested in before, but it will open you up to new opportunities. And by identifying your values and working to eliminate the self-defeating mindsets that we all have, you'll be able to develop a strong sense of identity and accomplishments, and you're going to be able to accomplish your goals with clarity. Okay. All right. So I'm nearing the end of my webinar. So I just wanted to talk about the personal branding blueprint that I've created that goes along with this. So I am selling it for $20. However, in this blueprint, it is very effective to helping you step by step building your personal brand. So I go through 5 pillars. I also give you some activities, daily activities that you can do, or action plans I suggest action plans to building yourself up and to working towards developing a brand for yourself. So this is what you'll get in it. There's 5-pillar personal branding breakdown, practical ways to apply the 5 pillars to your daily life, activities that will guide you towards self-discovery, and action plans that will help you establish and achieve goals. Because sometimes it's very easy to set goals, not so easy to achieve them. And with this guide, this blueprint, it's meant and designed to help you achieve your goals as well as establish them. Okay, so thank you for watching. And now I can open up to questions if you have any, or comments, or if you need me to explain anything. You're still muted.
Oh, thank you. In the book, but I'm just wondering, what are some of the things right away that you think a person should have in their toolkit for their branding? Are you talking about maybe having like a resume ready, or like emails to connect with people? What are some things that they should have?
Some
We should have
toolkits.
ready?
Well, I feel it always starts with what you have within yourself. So you need to know first and foremost what you value. So you can have, so just have that, and it's a mindset thing first and foremost. And with that mindset, knowing what you value, knowing what you're good at, that will help to establish a strong resume. Okay. I have a lot of clients who they have a resume. It's not a strong resume. And I ask them to give me a list of their skills, and they don't even know where to start. Right. So first and foremost, it's that mindset. But yes, having a good personal brand is a strong resume. So that includes your skills and your experiences. That's what basically a resume is. That is what you're selling to employers, your skills and your experiences. Also, knowing how to connect to people, because you can't be an island to yourself. You're going to need people's help to advance to the next level in your career, or maybe to move to another career, right? You're going to need some people. So even if you don't have anyone in your corner saying, oh, she should do this, maybe even as a reference, right? Maybe so you can ask your new boss to talk to your old boss and see how you are as a worker. So building networks, that's another thing. So I always encourage everyone who is in the career, the business field, please have a LinkedIn profile. If you can have Facebook and Instagram, you can have LinkedIn. That's a professional networking tool that's very important to have. So resume, network, so connecting, emails, or a networking platform even. Those are some tools I would believe it's very important to have in your toolbox. Any other questions or comments?
what if you're unsure of, I guess, where you want to be or what your career path or paths should be? What should you do to, I guess, jog your memory or help you to find out what you're meant to do? You may know your values, you may have a kind of an understanding, but if you're constantly unsure of what you're doing, how do you, I guess, what tools could you use?
Right. So again, I believe that will go down to mindset, right? So we have our values, we know what we're good at, and we do know what we enjoy. Most of the times, you can ask the person, what did you want to be when you were 6? Right? When we're children, we have much more clarity because we're not thinking about bills or credentials or anything like that. We just know what we like and we know why we want to do it. So that's what I ask my clients. So you know you have your values and you have your skills and what you're good at, and you always have your experience as well. Even if you're working at a job you never liked or you never liked any of the jobs you had, those experiences are still valuable. So now it's the mindset to moving towards achieving certain goals. So a lot of the times I meet with clients and they do know what they want. So I can never tell anyone what you should be doing, right? That's not my place. But what I can do is ask you certain questions to elicit certain thoughts. And the personal branding blueprint also does that. So what I would do is, as a career coach, I ask you certain questions to make you think of certain things, to make you arrive at your own conclusion of what you should be doing. So that happens and that is effective. But the problem I get often is when the person has that mindset that they can't do that because ... Whatever reason that is there to hold them back. So it's usually a mindset issue. And of course, you may not have the credentials, but even if you don't have the credentials, you may know someone who is in that role, or you can maybe save up to take one course at a time. There's not only one way to get into a specific career, right?
Okay.
So yeah, it's usually a mindset thing. And I would have to work closely with that client one-on-one to unpack certain mindsets, because it's usually things from the past, from childhood, even things you don't think is related to career, but it transforms the way we think and it affects the way we perceive our reality.
And where do we purchase your book?
So I will be sending you an email and with the instructions. So it has not gone out on a platform like Amazon as yet. I am working on that, but it's available right now. So I will send you an email at the end of this webinar.
Okay. I think that's it for now.
That's it? Is that it for you too, Chanel?
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you both for coming. I was so happy to do this, and I am going to stop sharing and stop recording.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up.